So today is May 17th, 2020. And these are the scientific and historical events of May 17th, May 17th, May 17th, 1897. First submarine to run submerged for any considerable distance, combines electric gasoline engines, launched in the USA by designer John Philip Holland. May 17th, May 17th, so many things have happened on May 17th. So the first submarine, the first actual one to run submerged for a considerable distance. 1897, May 17th, that happened. Soviet, Russia, they sent the Venera 6, May 17th, 1969, into the atmosphere of Venus. So the spacecraft, Venera 6, is descending into the atmosphere of Venus. Took them 127 days to get there, and it had a parachute. So when it got to the atmosphere of Venus, it's descending slowly, and the Venera 6 is sending back atmospheric data before being crushed by the pressure of Venus. So it sent out readouts every 45 seconds for 51 minutes. The atmosphere was sampled at 2-bar and 10-bar pressures. So the Venera 6, we got to Venus. Took 127 days to get there. They parked it in the Earth's orbit and then released it. And then it took 51 minutes to get crushed. They had readouts every 45 seconds, but 51 minutes, that's all they had. And 2-bar, 10-bar, what kind of pressure readings are these? I don't know, but it crushed the machine. So clearly a big enough pressure to crush the Venera 6. 2006, they took the aircraft carrier, the USS Oriskany, the USS Oriskany, that sunk in the Gulf of Mexico to become an artificial reef, an artificial barrier reef for, all the critters and wildlife in the oceans. So that happened in 2006. Fantastic. 1749, May 17th, Edward Jenner is going to be born. Edward Jenner is the English microbiologist who discovered the method for the vaccination of smallpox. Smallpox, polio, these are the two biggest success stories for vaccines. May 17th, 1954 is when the Supreme Court handed down the Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas decision. It was a unanimous decision that said separate but equal is bullshit. Plessy versus Ferguson is bullshit. Fuck the Dred Scott decision and fuck the Plessy versus Ferguson decision. It said the Brown versus Board of Education decision is what starts the civil rights movement. That happened May 17th, 1954. The first legal gay marriage is going to happen. Legal gay marriages are going to happen in Massachusetts, May 17th, 2004. The first U.S. state to legalize same-sex marriage, 2004, so 16 years ago. 1792, you had 24 merchants who formed the New York Stock Exchange at 70 Wall Street with the Buttonwood Agreement. So look at what has happened on May 17th. Wall Street has formed on May 17th. Gay marriage is legal on May 17th. And now blacks and whites, the children can go to school together. The beginning of the civil rights era with Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas. No, separate is inherently unequal. Separate is not equal. So you need to get your shit together, America. 1861, May 17th, you had James Clerk Maxwell. He had the first color photograph of a tartan ribbon. The first color photograph of a tartan ribbon. Scottish scientist James Clerk Maxwell shows the Royal Institution in London. 1861, this is, beginning of the Civil War, May 17th. May 17th, 1968. The European Space Research Organization launches their first satellite. It's not just American satellites. You got the European Space Research Organization. They got a satellite. At least they had one in 1968. 1990, May 17th, the Bank of China Tower in Hong Kong, designed by I.M. P.I. It opens as the first Supertail skyscraper outside of the U.S., the Bank of China Tower in Hong Kong. May 17th, 1990. 1993, May 17th, Intel unveils their brand new Pentium processor. 1993, 1630, the Italian Jesuit Niccolo Zucchi. He's the first person to see the two belts on Jupiter's surface. Jupiter has a belt. There's two belts on Jupiter's surface. 2019, May 17th, Taiwan's parliament votes to legalize same-sex marriage, and it's the first Asian country to do so. So Taiwan, I mean, it's pretty still progressive today. So Massachusetts, 2004, 15 years later, the first Asian country has done so. 2015, Oberbegel decision legalized same-sex marriage in America, but that was de facto by the Supreme Court, not because of the legislature. So Taiwan's legislature actually passed this. 1803, John Hawkins and Richard French patent the reaping machine. You will reap, what you sow. Political revolutions. This is Constitution Day. So for Nauru, this is, have a happy Constitution Day. This is Constitution Day for an actual holiday for Nauru. So let's, take a look at this Constitution. Is it good? Lots of freedoms, division of powers. May 17th, 1995. This is a crazy story, but you know what? He didn't. So let's listen to what Sean Nelson. Sean Nelson was a soldier for 2 years, so he's an American soldier, a veteran, 1978 to 1980. He was honorably discharged. So Sean Nelson is a veteran. This is how he treats soldiers in America. So he goes to the Sharp Memorial Hospital, and they beat him, and they hold him against his will. His parents had died. His wife had divorced him. His living girlfriend left him. So he's having a bad string of bad luck. But I believe it's this encounter with the Sharp Memorial Hospital that is going to, make him just snap. So Sean Nelson's a veteran, and he goes into the Sharp Memorial Hospital, right, as a soldier, but he's being treated like a prisoner, like a piece of shit, like a real schmuck. He goes to the hospital, does what he thinks he's supposed to do. They don't give a shit. They're wicked. They're evil. Donald Harvey killed at least 100 people while he was a nurse. So they went ahead and beat Sean Nelson for his own good, right? They falsely imprisoned him for his own good, as if he doesn't know what's best for himself. Sean Nelson sues Sharp Memorial Hospital. Superior Court judge doesn't give a shit. Doesn't care about, having to navigate through the legal system. Sides with the hospital's lawyers. The hospital countersues Sean Nelson for $7,000 for assault and battery and their false imprisonment of him. Maybe they helped him with some of his motorcycle injuries, but who even knows at this point, right? Sharp Memorial Hospital also killed Sean Nelson's mother. So Sean Nelson already has a beef with Sharp Memorial Hospital. Now they're beating him, holding him against his will. He's an American veteran. He's an American soldier. So at 6:30 p.m., May 17th, 1995, Sean Nelson has it. He loses his mind. He's sick of the bullshit. So at dusk, 6:30 p.m., he drives his Chevrolet van to the California Army National Guard Armory on Mesa College Boulevard to Kearny Mesa neighborhood of San Diego. So the gate was opened. He walks into the National Guard Armory. The gate's open. Nobody notices him. And back then, the tanks just started with just a push button. You didn't need a specific key. No specific key was necessary. So May 17th, 1995, he's sick of the bullshit. Walks into the California Army National Guard Armory, and the first two tanks wouldn't start, but the third one does, a 57-ton M6083 Patton. And that's when he's recognized. They call the police on him, but he's already in his tank, and he drives out, an M60. So Sean Nelson steals the M60 Patton tank from the California Army National Guard Armory in San Diego, and then he proceeds to go on a rampage. He plows through road signs and traffic lights. He runs over utility poles. 5,000 in San Diego is going to lose their electricity that day. He runs over fire hydrants. 40 parked, probably insured cars were crushed by the M60 tank that Sean Nelson was driving, and an RV was destroyed before he was shot and killed by a police officer, San Diego police. So, while driving on Interstate A805, he tried to knock down a pedestrian bridge by running into the pillars, but after a few hits and failure, he went on to something else. Eventually, the M60A3 Patton tank gets stuck on a concrete median barrier, and it loses one of its tracks. Four San Diego police jump onto the tank using bolt cutters. They open up the hatch. They order Sean Nelson to get out. Sean Nelson starts to rock the tank side to side to try to get the tank unstuck off of the concrete median barrier. And then when Richard Piner feels like he's about to fall off the tank because it's being rocked side to side, he reaches in and shoots Sean Nelson through the neck. And then later on at the hospital, they're going to declare Sean Nelson dead. So in spite of all the property damage and all the chaos, Sean Nelson was the only one who lost his life that day. So it was sabotage, right? It was destruction of property. It wasn't murder. It's more like Nelson Mandela. Or those Bird Sanctuary boys, those Bundy boys. Excuse me. So Sean Nelson is the only one that gets killed. Nobody else is injured. Nobody else is killed. Sharp Memorial Hospital, however, they get away with all their crimes. So that's, a crazy thing that happened in America just 25 years ago. 1926, May 17th, Chiang Kai-shek is made the supreme warlord in Canton. I think this is China, right? Chiang Kai-shek. Robert Patton, no, I don't know. Robert Greene really likes Chiang Kai-shek. So May 17th, 1648, the Holy Roman Emperor Ferdinand III and Maximilian of Bavaria and their imperial army was defeated by the Swedes and the French at the Battle of Zussmannschausen. This is one of the last fought battles in the 30 Years' War. The Swedish and the French force were victorious. The imperial army barely escaped annihilation. Maximilian of Bavaria is going to go into hiding, and if it wasn't for the end of the war, this is May 17th, 1648, the last year of the 30 Years' War, and this Battle of Zussmannschausen, this is one of the last battles, and then the Peace of Westphalia, the Peace of Munster is going to end the 30 Years' War. That saves Maximilian of Bavaria. Catholic France actually came in to side on the side of the German Protestants. So it shows how good Catholic France is, just being a humanitarian, helping to fight the German Catholics who were, being a bunch of dicks. The Habsburg monarchy was severely weakened, so was the Holy Roman Empire. And then France and Sweden were rising as the most powerful states in Europe. Maximilian's last field army was destroyed at the Battle of Zussmannschausen. So at the Battle of Zussmannschausen, Maximilian flees. Only the Peace of Westphalia later saved his life. Maximilian apparently retains his elector title. The Holy Roman Emperor still has a title. Maximilian of Bavaria was a German Catholic reactionary whose behavior prolonged the war in Germany for 30 years. The 30 Years' War in Germany devastated the countryside, the lands, the buildings. Lasted 1618 to 1648, 30 years. Ferdinand II, he wanted Catholicism to be the religion of Germany, and the Protestants rebelled. His reign coincides with the 30 Years' War. Ferdinand II gives birth to, Ferdinand III. Ferdinand III will finish the 30 Years' Wars out after Ferdinand II dies. Some people say the 30 Years' War is really a France and Habsburgs rivalry, more so than religion, not Protestants versus Catholics, but France versus Habsburgs. The Habsburgs had controlled Austria, Bohemia, Hungary, and Germany, Spain, Netherlands, southern Italy, Philippines, and most of the Americas at the time. Holy Roman Empire claimed Habsburgs' lands for themselves. They also added Nuremberg, Hesse, Palatinate, Bavaria, Saxony, Brandenburg, and Trier to the holdings of the Habsburg. So it was the imperialist, the imperial army of the Holy Roman Empire and the Bavarian Empire. Apparently, Maximilian wanted to ride on Ferdinand's coattails, but both Maximilian and Ferdinand are going to be crushed by France and Sweden. And this is fantastic. This is good news, because what the fuck was Ferdinand's the second and the third, and Maximilian? They're Catholics, but they're, declaring war and kill. What the fuck are you all doing? Today is Liberation Day for the Democratic Republic of Congo. I'm not sure. 1997, also the troops of Laurent Kabila march into Kinshasa. Zaire is renamed the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Both of those things are happening today. I don't know if they're related or not, but that's, fairly recent. 1997 is 23 years ago. So it wasn't, the Democratic Republic of the Congo today, but it used to be Zaire just 23 years ago. 1742, May 17th, the Battle of Châteauneuf, Prussia, led by Frederick the Great, defeats Austria. 1961, Fidel Castro offers to exchange the Bay of Pigs prisoners for 500 bulldozers. You have a lot of birthdays, lots of birthdays today. Albert, the Duke of Prussia, the last Grand Master of the Teutonic Knights, 1490, May 17th is his birthday. Bartholomew Roberts, who's a Welsh pirate, 1682, May 17th is his birthday. 1818, Ezra Otis Kendall, astronomer, mathematician, is born. 1860, Charlotte Barnum is born, a mathematician. 1868, Horace Elgin Dodge, co-founder of the Dodge Company, is born. 1882, Estonia architect, is born. Carl Berman. 1895, a parasitologist is born. Saul Adler. 1897, a Norwegian chemist is born. Odd Hassel. 1909, a physicist is born. Julia Sumner Miller is born. 1919, Gustav Nahn, a physicist and philosopher, is born. 1926, Franz Sondheimer, a chemist, is born. 1931, Marshall Applewhite, the founder of Heaven's Gate, is born. 1934, Ronald Wayne, a computer scientist who co-founded Apple Incorporated, is born. Dennis Hopper is born, an actor, 1936. 1940, Alan Kay, computer scientist, is born. 1950, Janez Drnovšek, an economist, is born. He's also the second president of Slovenia. 1962, Craig Ferguson, a comic, is born. 1980, Davor Desalto, Bosnian philosopher, is born. 1982, Dan Hardy, a mixed martial artist, is born. Today is also the birthday of the Raja for Perilous Malaysia, Children's Day in Norway, Norwegian Constitution Day. 1814, the Constitution of Norway assigned Crown Prince Christian Frederick of Denmark, elected King of Norway by the Norwegian Constituent Assembly. 1814, Norwegian Constitution is passed by the Constituent Assembly at Eidsvoll. 1964, the first Tim Hortons Coffee and Donut Shop opens in Hamilton, Ontario by NHL player Tim Horton. This is all May 17th. Lupita Jones, 23, Mexico, crowned 40th Miss Universe. 1991, Venezuelan Alicia Machado, 18, crowned 45th Miss Universe. 1996, on May 17th, 1973, 5 British Army soldiers are killed by the Provisional Irish Republican Army who booby-trap bombed in Amage County, Tyrone. 1872, the Bohemian Club is incorporated in San Francisco, the Liberation Day. Democratic Republic of the Congo, Muhammad Ali becomes the Wali of Egypt, May 17th, 1805. 1809, Napoleon I orders the annexation of the Papal States to the French Empire. 1943, World War II, the Dam Buster raids commence by the number 617 Squadron. So the 617 Squadron, RAF, begins the Dam Buster raids. On the eve of the presidential elections, 1980, May 17th, Maoist guerrilla group The Shining Path attacks a polling location in Chushi, Ayacucho, starting an internal conflict in Peru. The Watergate scandal begins their televised hearings in the U.S. Senate, May 17th, 1973, 1875, Aristides wins the first Kentucky Derby. 1914, the Protocol of Corfu is signed, recognizing the full autonomy to Northern Epirus under nominal Albanian sovereignty. 1974, the Troubles. Something happened with Ireland and England. May 17th, 1977, Nolan Bushnell opened the first Chuck E. Cheese's in San Jose, California. 1983, U.S. Department of Energy declassified documents that shows that the largest mercury pollution accident happened in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. 1983, Lebanon, Israel, the U.S., they all signed an agreement for Israel to withdraw out of Lebanon. And a lot more shit happened that day. So May 17th, the biggest things is the legalization of gay marriage. This is the first state in America. You're eventually going to have Taiwan, right, who did it last year. Their parliament did. But Massachusetts, that changes everything. The Brown versus Board of Education decision changes everything, changes the culture of America. So we're not going to be a bunch of segregationist asshole in 1954. We're not going to be a bunch of homophobic bigots in 2004. So this is fantastic that the first gay marriages coincide with the Brown v. Board of Education. Right, we're going to accept black folks. We're going to accept gay folks. We're going to accept women, and, it doesn't matter your creed, color, nationality, your sexuality, whatever, this is America. So you are who you are. You be who you be. Edward Jenner was also born, so there we go. The vaccination of smallpox wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Edward Jenner being born. The artificial reef, USS Oriskany, they took an aircraft carrier and made an artificial reef out of it. The Venera 6 descended into Venus. First submarine is going to run May 17th. So you got a lot of scientific events. You got the New York Stock Exchange. So Wall Street, for good or ill, it was established 1792. So that's the economics, right? That's not even the politics. The economics sometimes can be political in terms of power. And then James Clerk Maxwell is showing a color photograph. The first one of a tartan ribbon, which is, I don't know, is that the first color photograph? What's a tartan ribbon? What's that all about? 1968, the first satellite, the European Space Organization, Intel, Taiwan, reaping machines. So, yeah. Lots of, I think it's the Constitution Day, Nauru. I want to check that out. Check out Norwegian's Constitution. Chiang Kai-shek becoming the supreme warlord in Canada. I'm sure that's huge news, but because I don't know much about Chinese history, it doesn't strike me as, it strikes me as significant, but I don't know how significant. That happened May 17th, 1926. So yeah, Wall Street, gay marriage, black and white integration, this all happened on May 17th. This all happened on May 17th. And then Fidel Castro, right? Hey, America, you want your Bay of Pigs prisoners back? Give us 500 bulldozers. Not sure if he got that or not. But, yeah, May 17th, 10:55 in the AM Sunday. May 17th, 2020, lots of shit happened on May 17th, May 17th, May 17th.